morning. For those of you who have attended one of our webinars before, you know that your phones are already in mute, so we can't hear you, but we do want this presentation to be as interactive as possible. So on the doc that should have come up with the webinar, there is a questions tab. Feel free to utilize that questions tab and ask anything that's on your mind. I, as the moderator, see all those questions and will choose to either break into the presenters and ask them that question, or I may wait till the end of the presentation and get to it then. But we do our best to answer all questions. So please be as proactive as you can in asking them. In addition to that, early in the presentation, I'm going to be asking a few questions of you with an online poll. And no worries, there was no need to study for this. There are yes and no questions just to gauge your level of understanding of blogging and how involved you are with this tool that is available for us. So just a couple of announcements. I know many of you joining us today are registered pros with Capital Lighting and 1-800-Lighting.com. And as a pro, you know all about the benefits we offer to the design and trade community, from the industry's best tiered pricing structure to our free online directory we call Expert Finder that helps our customers find you, to our educational series like this. So details of all these programs, if you're not familiar with a few of them, along with the presentation materials and video link to the webinar today, will be sent out to you in a couple of days in a follow-up email from me. So I hope you all had a great New Year's and are doing your best to stay healthy. The flu is pretty nasty and powerful, and me and the presenters are doing our best to get through it. We were going to call this the Flubinar. Georgie Brown coined that term, but we're going to get some great information out to you and stay healthy. So I guess we can get started. Our presenters today are from Big Couch Media Group. Big Couch has worked with Capital Lighting for the past few years, and our presenters today are Big Couch's founder and managing partner, Georgie Brown, and Michelle Carroll, their social media guru. So with that, Georgie, please do your best and take it away.
Thank you, Eric, and good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm truly thrilled, actually truly thrilled to be vertical today with the flu, to be with you this morning, really for our first webinar of 2013, and I'm particularly excited about this because I love talking about blogging. For those of you social media bootcamp newbies who've never joined us before, our goal today is to provide you with some great tips and how-tos on blogging. And most important, how you can start blogging to build your credibility, expand your digital footprint, and most important, how you can grow your business. As Eric mentioned, I'm joined today by Michelle Carroll, who is a very close colleague, and she is definitely a social media guru.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
So today we're going to help answer the following questions on blogging. First, why this is important to you. Then we'll show you how to get started. We'll then provide simple ways for you to promote your blog. We'll then share some best practices and really mistakes to avoid as well. We're going to share with you some companies who we believe are really doing it right, especially some designers. So we're excited to share that with you. Important, how to measure your success. And of course, we're going to leave time for questions and answers. But first, we really would like to thank our sponsor and partner, Quoizel, for supporting this webinar. They're a very important partner to Capital and has an absolutely wonderful product line. What I love about Quoizel is they actually walk the talk when it comes to the benefits of blogging, and we're actually going to be sharing with you more details on that later in this webinar. So thanks, Quoizel. I know many of you are already blogging, and if you're not blogging, you've probably been thinking about it. According to Wikipedia, which, as we all know, has become the trusted source for any information, blogging originated in the late 1990s really with the advent of easy-to-use web publishing tools, which then allowed non-techies like us to easily publish content on the web, really giving us a voice. So fast forward to today, there are now millions and millions of blogs. Blog subjects range from personal online diaries to specific subject matters. This would be related to you guys attending this webinar. And blogs are now used by most companies for promotion and branding, as well as helping with their search engine ranking. How can we be found in Google, I guess, is the $1,000, million-dollar question. So before we get started today, let's take a quick poll.
All right, very good. That's my cue to start the poll, and we're going to ask some simple questions. You'll have the ability on your screen to answer to them. And the first question is, do you currently read or follow any blogs? And if you could just please select yes or no on your screen. All right, we're up to about 80% of the people have voted. 92. And voting is closed. I will share the results for that question. We actually have 55% do not read or follow any blogs. So this is truly an informational gathering. They've heard about blogs. They know they're out there, but they are certainly have some getting up to speed on what blogs mean to them. So thank you for that. I'm going to actually go to the next question, which is, hold on one second, the poll thing is closed, hide. The next question is, for those of you who answered that you knew what blogging was and are following some people blogging, are you personally currently blogging? Those are the people who answered yes, obviously, before. So if you could answer yes or no. All right, I'm going to close that and share the results there. So 1/4 of the people that do follow blogs are currently blogging. So a fairly substantial portion are reading them, but not currently involved in sharing their own information. Let's see. And we'll go to the next one, which is, for those people who are blogging, are you blogging to market to your business, or perhaps you're just blogging on another topic that's important to you, perhaps you know, a hobby or something like that, but are you blogging for your business? And to share that, 2/3 of the people are not blogging for their business, 1/3 is. And the last question, for those who are blogging for their business, are you happy with the results? Okay. Interesting. They are not happy with the results if they have been blogging. So we got some education to do here, Georgie. It sounds like a perfect time to be talking to our attendees. So I'll give it back to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Eric. Well, that's great, because this should be very valuable for everybody who is attending. So why is blogging important? Why should you care about this? First, through blogging, you can help position and establish your brand or business very easily. This is a great and cost-effective way to establish yourself as an expert. Next, blogging will drive traffic, and more importantly, it will generate leads for your business. And if you happen to transact on your website, it could lead to transactions as well. And lastly, blogging is extremely important for search engine optimization. Because if you're going to be found in Google, you want to be found for the things that are important to you. So now let's look at the landscape by the numbers. There are over 31 million bloggers. 60% of bloggers are men, 40% are women. The 60% of men, there's a lot of techie blogs, right? 60% of businesses have a company blog, so we do see the majority of businesses using blogging as one of their marketing tools. Only 35% actively blog at least once per month. And on the flip side, 65% of blogs have not been updated in over a year, which is a big no-no. And most important, 61% of consumers have made a purchase based on a recommendation from a blog. So guys, to me, that statistic is very telling. So let's, hopefully we can convince you today to at least get started.
So Georgie, 65% have not been updated in more than a year. So that's people have set up the blog. They went through the trouble of creating it and then just let it die on the vine?
And then just never did anything with it. And some blogs get started and sort of die on the vine. Mm-hmm. It's still millions and millions of active blogs.
Got it.
I think the latest statistic is 156 million blogs, something, a total blogs in the universe. So,
mm-hmm. Do you have any specifics? Question was just how many blogs are on design in particular. I know that's pretty granular about, but do we have any stats on the main blogging topics?
We don't, but okay. I could do a little bit of research on that.
Great. So we'll send we tried to stay at a little bit of a high level today, but that's a good follow-up question. That's from Burn Century. Thank you, and we'll in the follow-up email that we send out in the next couple of days, we'll have that information for us. Great. Thanks.
So what should you be considering to be successful with your blogging efforts? First, create compelling content. Secondly, be consistent and update frequently, as we were talking before about all the blogs that don't get updated. And there's nothing worse than reading a blog or a blog that you've subscribed to that hasn't been updated for months. You really lose a lot of credibility. You want to incorporate target keywords in your content so you'll be found in search engines. So for instance, if you are an expert in contemporary design, you want to make sure you're incorporating those keywords in your titles and in your content. And last, and we share this with all of our partners and our clients, you have to be patient. Nothing great happens overnight. So just stay with it. So now we're going to get started. You first need to develop your strategy. I mean, that's anything that we do in business, right? Form follows function. You have to have a plan, and then you can execute. So first is, what's my niche, my tone or focus? What makes you unique or different? What are the long-term goals of your blog? For example, do you want to establish yourself as an authority in contemporary design in Boca Raton? Set a goal. Next is, who's going to author the blog? Is it you, or is there someone else on staff that you're going to assign that particular task to? Create a schedule and a calendar and hold yourself accountable. Publish it internally. That says you're going to publish your blog 3 times a week so that you really hold yourself accountable for keeping it updated. And then, I can't reiterate enough, what keywords are you going to focus on so you can be found in search engines? Okay, So if you're just getting started, another question you're going to be asking yourself is, what platform should I use? There's many. Some of the most popular and common platforms used for blogs are WordPress, Typepad, Blogger, Tumblr, and Drupal, to name a few. And as you can see, WordPress really leads the pack and is the most common platform in popularity today. So what do you need to consider when choosing the right platform for your blog? One, theme and design. If you're planning to use an off-the-shelf design template, meaning just a template, you want to choose a platform that has a great selection of templates. And it's very easy to find these because you could just go into Google and say WordPress blog templates. And you'll see a whole list of websites to choose from that will show you the design templates that are available. WordPress has a huge selection of designs, and many are free. So that's good. Or they're at a minimal cost. Second, that's a good segue. Although many platforms are free, many charge for things like custom domains, meaning if you want, let's say your website is ABC Design and you want your blog to be blog.abcdesign, some platforms actually charge for that, or else you get kind of the generic domain, or there might be extra charges for removing ads or uploading videos or changing font and text size. So, cost obviously is a factor. Features. What type of features do you need for your blog? For example, are you going to be incorporating video? Do you want to be able for readers to share your content on their social media? So features becomes one of the main considerations. Next consideration, do you want to monetize your blog? You're going to be driving traffic. Do you want the ability to run ads on your blog, like AdSense from Google? So you need to make sure that the platform supports all the things that you want to do with your blog. Lastly, and important, how easy is this to use? Really, the most popular blog platforms like WordPress make it very easy to add content, just like using a Word document. So they've made it very easy. So at the end of the day, set your strategy, then find the right platform that will allow you to execute on that strategy. So now you have set the strategy and you've chosen your platform. Now it's time to design your blog. Elements you need to consider when designing your blog are the theme. The blog theme is what is used to enhance the visual layout and the overall usability of your blog. As mentioned earlier, there are many off-the-shelf templates. Or you can choose a custom design, which you would use your web developer or a web designer that you've worked with. And sometimes you can have a hybrid of that. If cost is a factor, you could take a template and maybe work with your web developer to make some minor tweaks to that template to be more consistent with your brand, because the visual representation is important, as this will say a lot about your company and your brand. Next, color scheme. What colors do you want to use on your blog? How does this reflect your style or portray your brand? Typography. This is more important than most people think. Do your research on typefaces. Remember, this is the written voice of your brand. Text that is also difficult to read may deter your potential customers. And remember, people are reading on different devices these days. They're not just sitting in front of their computer. So think about how people are going to be engaging with your blog. How do you plan to use images? That's important. Content formats. Are you planning to incorporate video or audio or even PowerPoint presentations like this? If so, make sure you also associate text with that content so that it can be easily found by search engines. Background, what colors do you want to use as a background? This is the backdrop, kind of the stage of your blog. Warm colors typically project a human focus, and cool colors are typically associated with more technology blogs. And for certainly the interior designers on the call today, you know more about color than any of us probably on this call. So choosing the right colors and backgrounds is important. And also, you don't want the background to detract too much or overpower your content. I know we've all probably read blogs or even gone to websites where there's a lot going on in the background, and it really takes away from, the overall experience. Make sure it's easy to navigate. It needs to be intuitive. So I say use your grandmother's test. Would your grandmother, if they came to your blog, be able to navigate around all the information? And lastly, the social sharing features, as we discussed earlier. Make sure it's easy for your readers to share your blog on their social media. This feature is available in really the majority of, or all of the really popular blog platforms.
Just if my grandmother came to my blog, it would be the last thing I'd be concerned about. How?
Yeah, well, I mean, I use it. My grandmother is, somewhere else, but I'm sure she's reading my blog.
Say a grandmother.
Someone's grandmother.
Somebody's grandmother.
You don't have a grandmother yet.
Very good.
It's a figure of speech.
I gotcha. I'm with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I'm visualizing my grandmother reading
Correct.
my blog right now. So now you need to develop your tone and your voice for your blog. First, you want to create a personality, right? Because this isn't a promotional piece. This is really about how you want people to feel about your brand. Then you want to make sure it's authentic. You want to be honest and very credible. Always write with your readers in mind. And lastly, do not be too salesy and promotional. You could do that sometimes, but that should not be the sole strategy of your blog.
Is there a percentage? 1 in 4 should be, you can get talk about promotional, or 1 in 2?
In general, if you have something really important to communicate to people that's relevant to your readers, then share it. If let's say you're blogging 3 times a week, I wouldn't make 2 posts salesy. I might do every couple of weeks or once a week.
Got it.
Put a theme around it that says, here's our Tuesday blog daily deal or something. So give it, kind of a platform. If you're, but I wouldn't make that the platform. It's just people will stop following it if all you're trying to do is sell something.
Yeah, people sniff that out very quickly.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's the whole be authentic and credible, and because again, this is where you're really working to get people engaged and passionate about your brand, and hopefully in the long term, and really all the social media we've been talking about is becoming your brand evangelist and ambassador that they are sharing with other people. If you go back to the statistics, 61% of consumers say they actually bought something based on a recommendation in a blog. That's pretty powerful. So you have to be authentic there. So frequency does matter, and research has shown that how often you blog is directly tied to new customer acquisition. We recommend at minimum 2 to 3 times a week if possible. If you can't, just commit to once a week, but we really recommend to our clients 2 to 3 times minimum per week. But make sure be consistent and be compelling. So next, what is my content strategy? Know your readers and write from their point of view. This goes back to you're trying to get people engaged in your brand and develop an affinity to your business, your expertise. Create attention-grabbing headlines. So practice. You know, we've all read different things that have catchy headlines, and certainly a lot of the folks today on this webinar are creative, so really let your creative juices flow. Engage in a conversation. End your blog with open-ended questions. Remember, it's not a one-way street. A blog is a conversation, so most of the blog platforms, I would say all of them, allow commenting. We've all seen that. So you actually want to write your blog in a way that's a little open-ended so you can get your readers and followers to actually engage with your content. Don't forget that you are writing your content around your target keywords. What do you want to be found for? Bathroom design in Delray Beach, or East Hanover, New Jersey, or traditional contemporary design. So again, keywords and integrating those in your content is very important. And lastly, we recommend that your blog be between 300 and 500 words. And the 300 is really the minimum threshold for, and best practices for optimizing your blog and your new content for search engines. So now you have a blog. How can you promote it? First, leverage your other social media presence. So we've had webinars on all of these, actually, except Google+. So on Facebook, you can share your blog content on your business page as well as your personal page. On Twitter, you can, oops, excuse me, I didn't mean to go forward. Twitter, you can add your blog to your Twitter feed. Pinterest, consider creating a board specific to your blog post. LinkedIn, you can share on your LinkedIn business and personal profile updates, as well as any groups that you're currently following. And Google+, share on your Google+ page, as well as any circles that you're in Google+. And although, and we haven't talked about Google+, it's not as popular as other social platforms, but remember, Google+ is very important for SEO, especially in Google search.
So obviously, acquisition strategy. We have other questions about platforms that people should use to acquire new followers. Putting it on your social media is a great acquisition strategy all over
Correct.
the place.
And, you know, if that's also, you know, the investment is your time. Now, having said that, you can run ads. We didn't really talk about that. You could run ads on Facebook promoting your blog or LinkedIn. But I would say for this group, just based on the numbers, let's leverage sort of the sweat equity that we could put in versus, you know, hard dollars. So social bookmarking sites. Social bookmarking sites have millions of users, and the social bookmarking sites are online services where users consolidate their bookmarks. All the sites that they like, people subscribe to these social bookmarking sites and actually sort of act as a central repository for their bookmarks. All you have to do for these social bookmarking sites is you go, you set up an account, and then you can start publishing your blog content to these sites. There are also paid services that you could subscribe to, like OnlyWire, that once you set up these accounts, you can actually, in an automated fashion, just publish it to OnlyWire, and it'll push to all of your other sites as well. And there's usually a minimal cost. I think OnlyWire is, I don't know, $9 or $10 a month. So it's pretty inexpensive. But I would say if you're just getting started, pick kind of the most popular social bookmarking site like StumbleUpon, Dig, Delicious, the ones, the Reddit that are on here, and just sort of manually publish until you really get the hang of it and gain a broader understanding. Next are your contacts. If you have an email newsletter, add your blog and a link to your email newsletter. Consider adding a link at the bottom of your email signature. Follow my blog. Send an email to your contact list and ask them what they think about your blog. I mean, you also want to get feedback from people that maybe it's colleagues. You could send it to me, and I'll certainly give my opinion. But you want to solicit feedback on how you can improve your blogging efforts. And also you can set up an RSS feed. And RSS stands for Real Simple Syndication. And this is a feature that will be available when you're choosing your blog platform, if it has RSS feeds. Other blogs. Leverage other blogs by posting comments with links back to your blog. Submit your blog as a guest post. And we're actually going to talk a little bit more in depth about guest blogging, because that's something that has recently become a lot more popular. Make outreach and develop relationships with influential bloggers who would consider linking to your blog post. Submit it as a reprint to other blogs. And lastly, join relevant blogging networks and communities where you can share your content with other people.
So it's a similar strategy to building your Facebook community as well, Georgie, right? If you want people to follow you, you have to follow them, make relevant comments on what they're talking about, and they'll say, hey, that person knows what they're talking about. Hopefully they'll take a quid pro quo and take a look at what you're talking about.
Correct. And, the important thing is when you're doing that, you need to make sure that those blogs are relevant, that you're not posting design comments on a auto mechanic site because they have a popular blog and it's a good link for SEO. You just need to make sure it's relevant. Because you won't get any credit for, so the more relevant it is to your expertise, your industry, your niche, the more valuable it's going to be, and the more traffic you're going to generate as well.
Great.
And lastly, as we talked about earlier, make sure you incorporate the social sharing features on your blog. And as mentioned, this is really available on most of the major blogging platforms. But you want your content to be able to be shared, and I'm sure we've all seen great examples of that. So now I just want to share a bit more on guest blogging. As I mentioned, it's really become very popular. So guest blogging is going to help you in building relationships. It's also going to establish yourself as an authority and expert in your field. Again, going back to making sure that if you're guest blogging on a site that it is relevant to your industry and niche. You may also uncover some great business opportunities through these relationships. You're truly casting a wider net. You're capturing a wider audience. And also important, it's great for SEO, for the backlink to your blog. So relevant backlinks to your blog will demonstrate to Google you're popular. And if you've been on other webinars, we've talked about sort of the Google popularity contest. So we've put together a few tips and best practices from some very influential bloggers. One, pick a frequency and stick with it. Nothing worse than visiting a blog that I'm interested in or subscribing, or I've subscribed to, and it hasn't been updated. Use keyword-rich, attention-grabbing headlines for each post. How do you want to be found on Google? Incorporate images. Formatting matters. Use subheads and bullet points. Quality versus quantity. Now, we sort of said the minimum threshold is 300 to 500, but if you don't have anything interesting to say in 500 words, stick to the 300. And create blog categories and tags. I'm sure you're going to be writing about different subjects and different topics, so make sure that those are organized accordingly on your blog. Okay, now a few no-nos. Do not treat your blog like a press center or promotional outlet. This is what we were talking about earlier. You will lose credibility. It's okay to do this sometimes when you have something really important to say, like maybe you opened a new office or you just finished a project for a really big, noteworthy client, that as long as you're allowed to publish their name. That's good because people would be interested in that, but just don't use it as save 10% off on your design recommendations today. Just don't really, it would be a big mistake. Use other marketing channels for that. Second, from our experts, not blogging regularly. As I stated earlier, nothing more disappointing. So, not enabling conversations. Don't make your content one way. Remember, this is interactive. This is a conversation. A blog, just like Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Pinterest, just like we've talked about in previous webinars, it's a conversation. Don't make your content hard to find. And lastly, don't expect too much too soon. You have to be patient. You have to put effort into it and really promote it. So be patient about the results. So
Great.
Now I'm going to pass it off to Michelle, who is actually going to share some great examples of some really awesome blogs.
Georgie, just a quick question, and it is a little technical, but a question came in regarding, you had mentioned alt tags on photos.
Yeah. So
and is
alt
that
tags, so the alt tags would be tags that get, and this would be available on your blogging platform. So on WordPress, when you add an image to a blog post, it's going to ask you to add the tags, and tags are keywords, right? And so I'm sure all of us have used Google to search for images. If you've ever searched something in Google and then you click on images, that's how the images are found on Google and other search engines. So you want to make sure that your images, and especially for designers, because you may be taking photos of your projects, that you might add tags like contemporary design. It could have the brand. You might put your name in it if you're well known as well, so that your images actually get indexed in the search engines as well.
great?
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'd like to just go over some great examples of companies that are doing blogging right. And there really are many businesses who are doing blogging the right way. A few of these companies who have noteworthy blogs for you to check out and maybe peruse later are Zappos, Marriott, Southwest, and Whole Foods. For example, the Nuts About Southwest blog is an honest blog about travel and the people who make it happen. People generally don't like airlines, but somehow Southwest has risen above this, and they're using their anti-corporate press release blog to find a way to connect with their employees and really highlight the different things that are going on at Southwest. Also, Starbucks and Zappos and Whole Foods, they're just really doing blogging right. They do great work, and they have popular blogs full of how-tos, best practices, exciting product ideas, and they also showcase a lot of fun contests through these different blogs. So, I really encourage you to check out these blogs as a great example. In terms of the next blog we're going to showcase, we're going to show you the parenting blog for several years now. Ree Drummond, she's better known as the Pioneer Woman. She's been recognized as one of the top mom and food bloggers. Not only has she won several awards from Babbel that ranks popular blogs, but she's also won also has become a New York Times best-selling author by taking her tale of basically, being a mom living on a ranch and raising 4 kids. She's sharing fun stories about her kids and food and recipes, and really has a fun-to-read blog where she's sharing really great images. She has very great titles and headlines and really incorporating many of the best practices we've just talked about. And as I mentioned, she's really taken her blog to the next level. She's now a television personality with a hit show on Food Network, so you can check out her blog as well.
And is there a way for you to see how many people are following a particular blog right on the blog itself?
So there are different ranking websites. For example, BlogRank looks at different websites to look at their metrics, but when you just go to her site, you won't necessarily see the number of followers. But one great indication of the engagement of her blog or other great blogs, you can see how many comments they get per blog post. You can also go to their other social media networks. For example, if you go to Facebook for the Pioneer Woman, you'll see she has, thousands of followers on Facebook. So it's really the integration of the blog with other social media to, see how really, the strength of the blog.
Great. Thanks.
So another great example is the Quozel blog, and they're really doing a great example of following all the best practices we've discussed. As you can see, they are blogging on a regular basis, so they're following the blog schedule and posting. It looks like they're posting 2 to 3 times per week. Also, each blog post includes a great headline and, really an attention-grabbing title. They're using engaging photos, and they also have the social media share icons integrated into the blog. So it's really a great source. Follow the Quozel blog for great tips on lighting.
Great.
And another great designer blog we wanted to share is the Elements of Style blog. It's really become one of the world's leading lifestyle blogs. Thousands of loyal readers have been following Erin Gates, who started Elements of Style 5 years ago. And she really provides, a great dose of interior design inspiration. She mixes her posts with, other topics, fashion, travel, pop culture. She blogs on a daily basis. Her blog is, really in a very personal voice, the voice of Erin Gates, and she's also taken her lifestyle blog and interior design blog. It's really been a launching pad for her business, and also has recently gotten a book deal from her blog. So really there's, a lot that can be said for, having a consistent presence with your blog. And one other important note is, you have to find your voice because, for example, if you read the Elements of Style blog, you'll see she's very humorous, she has an honest tone, and it makes her blog very relatable. People, feel like they're just sitting down and having a cup of coffee with her when they read her blog. Another great example of a design blog is the Design Sponge blog. It's been ranked by many different sources, including Time Magazine as one of the top 25 blogs for 2012. This blog is written by Grace Bonney, and her blog covers a variety of different topics in the industry, from home design, new and innovative products, tips on home living. And one of the great features about the Design Sponge blog is that she features great photos in each post. If you visit her blog, you'll see she has a lot of great before and after room decorations, do-it-yourself projects. It's really a great inspiration to many readers. So even if all you do is check out her blog to enjoy all the pretty pictures, it's something to come back to. Another example of a great designer blog is the How About Orange blog. This, again, has been named one of the top 50 blogs by Babbel for the past 2 years in a row. And just a note, if you want to look at other great blogs, as I mentioned, Babbel, BABBLE.com, ranks many great blogs in different categories, so you can peruse their different recommendations to find some great blog design inspiration. But as far as the How About Orange blog, she provides a lot of colorful do-it-yourself projects. All of her projects are really fun to follow, and the reason why her blog, I think, is I wanted to mention this blog is because she scored a number 4 overall by having some of the best do-it-yourself masterpieces incorporating design. So these are some, a variety of different examples of some of the best blogs for you to take a look at as you look for some great examples in designing and putting together your blog strategy.
Thank you, Michelle. That was really great, and I strongly encourage all of you to sort of, visit these blogs, and it might inspire you, give you some ideas on how you can either enhance what you're currently doing, or if you're just getting started, just some ideas on what you might do relative to your blog. So now we've done all this, and so now how do we measure success? First, make sure you set up Google Analytics. That's Analytics. It's free, by the way, and you might need some help from maybe you have a friend who's a web developer, or you currently work with a web developer. You might need a little help in getting that set up. That's probably an area to getting those tags in the pages that you might need some help. But once you have that in place, you can then track how much traffic or how many people are you getting to your blog. You can even see where that traffic is coming from. So if you go back to what we were talking about earlier on how to promote your blog, through your analytics, you can actually log in and see if you're getting traffic from all these places that you've linked to your blog content. The bounce rate. The bounce rate is, are people just landing on your blog and then they're immediately jumping off? So if you have a bounce rate of 95%, that means that people get there and they're just leaving. So sort of monitoring that will show how people are engaged with your content. You can also see in your analytics how many pages are people reading when they visit your blog. Are they just reading one page, or they're coming to your blog and they're looking at some of your past blogs? So you could, again, this is a measurement of engagement with your blog and your brand. And last but really important is how many new customers are you generating? So one of the things that we didn't speak about is when you're setting up your blog to make sure you have a contact form, right? Hey, contact me. Maybe you have a little, give your email address and a phone number. But you can actually track through your analytics how many people are contacting you or generating new leads. So now back to the big question, why should I blog? It's a great method to establish yourself as an expert and authority, as Michelle pointed out with some of the examples, especially in the design community that she shared with us. It will absolutely help build traffic. It's great for search engine optimization. Google loves new, fresh, and unique content. And again, we want to make sure we're using our keywords when we're developing that content. It's a great way for you to get a better understanding of your customers, and that goes back to the engagement and the commenting on your blog. It's potentially a great avenue for you to connect with others in your industry or business partners. And lastly, blogging is a very cost-effective marketing tool. Once your blog is set up, it is only your time, even if you spend a few minutes each day to share, or week, to share your passions, your experience, and your expertise.
Georgie, is there a bounce rate that's acceptable? And I mean, people are going to come and bounce. I mean, no one expects to have a zero bounce rate, but 25%, 50%?
50%, I think, is a good number. Anything lower than that is awesome.
Is great.
You know, just
okay.
considering, because yeah.
Got it.
So we hope you really enjoyed today's webinar, and really most important to both, you know, Michelle and I, that you really gained some valuable insights, you got some ideas, and really it's not that hard. I hope this didn't feel like, oh, it's going to be too hard for me to get started. It's really easy, and it's a great way to expand your marketing and truly grow your business. So I know this was a lot of information, so just remember that this webinar is going to be available for replay, and Eric's going to be emailing that out to you in, you know, the next day or so. And also, if I can personally answer any questions, you can email me. I had my email address at the beginning of this this presentation. So I did, you know, in the spirit of, you know, we don't have to be so serious, and I actually enjoyed putting this part together. I thought we'd end on a bit of humor. So first we start with the husband and wife, then we move on to animals. My favorite, this is my absolute favorite. And of course we can't forget babies.
Yes, it's a great content creator. Very good. Thank you, Georgie. There are a few questions that have come through in the last few minutes, if we could get to them. Linda asks, it can be very cost-effective to write the written portion, but where do we learn how to tag photos so we don't have to pay a web designer to tag every photo? Are those things that they can just search online as well, like how to tag photos for blogging?
Yes,
Michelle,
definitely.
do you want to answer that?
Yes, there's many articles. All you really have to do is, check out, do a search for alt attributes or image alt tag, and you can take a look at different articles on, web design and search engine optimization. But essentially, what the image alt tag is, it's really just a HTML tag. And as Georgie mentioned, if you're using, a platform such as WordPress or Blogger, you really just have to enter in the description when you upload the image. So the two important things to remember are the headline or the title of the image and the description of the image. And just make sure to use the keywords people would be searching for that you want your image to be found for.
Got it. Thanks. Question from Dawn. How do you control comments that may be negative on your blog?
So that's a great question, and definitely, again, lots of articles online about blog commenting and how to manage blog comments. One tip that I have is I would say unless you have staff or resources that are reviewing blog comments, I would make your comments so that you have to review and approve comments before they are allowed to be posted on your blog, and you can set that up in the settings when you're setting up the blog. And the reason for that is you just don't want any obviously for any negative comments or defamatory comments on your blog. And then if you do happen to get into a situation, I'll use the example of the Pioneer Woman, for example. She gets sometimes dozens and hundreds of comments on her blog posts, especially the very popular ones. She'll allow others in her community to respond to other comments. So if you really do start to get an engaging community with your blog comments, that's something to consider as well, is having some other people that are designated to respond to comments.
Yeah, I guess the more strong your opinions on things will probably garner stronger responses from people that have opposite opinions. So it's going to be a personal choice on how edgy you choose to be. Right? I mean, you can be very safe, but maybe a little boring, or perhaps a little edgy and have strong opinions. But you're just going to have to accept that you might get some dialogue that's challenging, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? I mean, it makes the conversation a little bit more interesting, perhaps.
And a great example of really a very, famous blog, if you think about the Huffington Post, who started as a blog, I mean, they took very strong points of view. So to that, again, it goes back to setting your tone and your voice and how you want to position your blog as a resource or information. It's certainly taking a strong point of view on something will differentiate you, but there's always the potential risk of not everybody agrees with your point of view, right?
Right. Okay, I think we're almost done with our hour, so I just want to thank Georgie and Michelle. That was terrific. As I said before, we'll be sending out an email to all of you with the presentation video link. That'll be on our YouTube channel, just in case you missed something or you want to share it with one of your partners or friends. If you're in the South Florida area, we will be having a grand opening event at our newest showroom in Palm Beach Gardens next month on February 13th. We'll be sending out those evites shortly, so please keep an eye out for that. It should be a terrific time. And lastly, our relationship with our design community is a two-way street. Capital Lighting's stated mission is to be part of a team to help make the world a brighter place. And we strive every day to add value to our pro community and deliver you relevant content and bring you showrooms and a website that are second to none. So I invite you to please share with me or any member of my team your thoughts or experiences with us. We always love to hear where we exceeded your expectations or even perhaps where we have an area to improve, because we never stop learning or trying to improve our business, as you are all dedicated learners for joining us today in the Social Media Bootcamp. So everyone stay healthy, stay warm if you're up north, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, Georgie.